Well, hello, Glue Troopers. Max and Max's models here after a very productive day. First order of business is I finished that little tank that Brett sent me. And of course, this is his tank. So I've got him up there in the driver's cupola. And turned out okay for, a fun, easy, fun build. Apparently, somewhere along the line, I managed to knock off one of the headlights. Good me. Never find that thing. But got all the correct decals on it and everything. It actually gives you the decals for several tanks, but of course I went with his. And for those who didn't catch other videos, it's an American tank. The Canadian flag is about the exercise they went to that the Canadian sponsored, so it was in honor of them. So there's a Canadian flag on each side of the barrel and one on each side of the turret. The only real gap issue I had was the bow of the tank. I just could not seem to get that front glacis plate and hull to mate, so I had to put a little putty in there. But that was really about it. And one quick note, there's that little piece that we cut out of the skirt on the Abrams. And Fran, who was a career tanker, told us that the early M1 Abrams had the full skirt, but it was packing mud and stuff up in there, so they learned to cut them out. And then that became standard. Fun little build, and now I have a piece of modern American armor. At first I was going to put it up on the shelf fighting Gojira, but I decided, you know what, I don't have any modern armor on my armor shelf, so I decided to go ahead and put it there with the box. And unfortunately, I messed up the American flag pennant that went up on the antenna, so the only flag's under the Canadian, no big deal. So then I went out and got to work on the F-51D Mustang, and I learned something. I more or less basically finished it, enough that I could take some photos so I can go ahead and do the Korean build. I still need to hang ordnance and put some of the lettering, the little do not step type decals on it, but the basic airplane is done. I think the only thing missing is the antenna, but I'll put some shackles on it later and for the bombs and drop tanks and stuff, just to flesh it out. Landing gear screwed into place, so it's nice and firm, sort of like the F4. So I got the glare shield painted. It's a pretty basic paint scheme on this one, and it's Dean Hess's airplane, which is pretty much all aluminum with a little red intake under the nose and a yellow stripe, which they have a decal for. Now, one thing about these Tamiya kits is they're magnificent kits, just a marvel of engineering. And the level of detail is up there with wingnut wings. But I will tell you that when you get all these highly detailed sub-assemblies together, getting everything to fit is a trick, because I don't know if I got something out of alignment or something needed to be filed down, but the fuselage was maybe a half a millimeter wider than it should have been, which meant the canopy wouldn't set properly, and some of the components I put in the engine, the framing was a little too wide. Little things like that. Not big deals, but it is definitely the advanced builder's kit. But wow, you can really do a lot with it. So the real thing I was concerned about was the windshield, but it actually doesn't look that bad. It's okay. I had thought about oil, putting a bullet hole in the cowling and the oil tank, and then have some oil spewing out on the windshield to cover it. But I was like, it doesn't really need it. And of course, this is designed so that you can pose it with all the engine cowling pieces removed, so you can see all the detail, of which there's an immense amount, or just button it all up. And of course, they also give you the decals for several American versions of the airplane. It was one little side note. We talked about the propellers. Well, yes, the American Mustangs had the paddle blade prop. I went and looked up several photos online, and it turns out that the ones we gave the South Koreans actually had the high altitude cuff tip props. So if you're making the American one, you want the paddle blade, but if you're going to make the Korean one, which I did, you want the cuff tip, the longer, slender, rounder blade. So I made sure to get that in there. And a few really snug fit issues, but you got to expect that with something this complicated. So I've got it set aside. I will be continuing to work on it in dribs and drabs to get the details ironed out. But right now I'm considering the model basic finished, so that I can go ahead and get the pictures in the Korean War build and get that out soon. Tomorrow is actually the last day to submit pictures for the Korean War build. So that is where everything is at right now. Really busy day, but very, very productive. Oh, by the way, one thing I forgot. The last viewers build I did got popped and demonetized because of the Dreamberry 2's version of Repops Will Do Ya to the tune of Hallelujah, and they said that was a copyright violation, so I had to have them replace that music with some canned YouTube music, and I don't know if they'll monetize it now or not, but my gosh, unbelievable, huh? So guys, thanks for everything. We'll talk at you later, and as always, model on.
Pedal faster, Max.
C-Max, run.